Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Hi, this is rox-burkey.
Hello.
I'm here this evening talking to h-owen-stevens. He's a new author, and I am just delighted. And, Owen, I believe you said it was okay if I call you Owen this evening?
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Well, awesome. So you have written a political fiction, and it's How the U.S. Won the War on Drugs.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want to ask, how did you come up with that title? What prompted you to write this?
Well, actually, it was back in 2006 when I first came up with the basis of the story. And we had the technology back then in the banking system to make it happen, but the infrastructure had not been put in place. And now it is in place to where there is a way that we can shut down the drug cartel's ability to be able to bribe and corrupt public officials, especially south of the border. And that's their whole protection, is being able to do that. And once that's shut down, the drug lords, the drug cartels will have no protection anymore, and they will be destroyed.
Well, that seems like a very easy premise. So it begs the question, why haven't our political leadership jumped on this idea a long time ago?
Well, like I said, the infrastructure inside the banking and finance system was not in place. Even though technology was developed for that, the banks and credit unions, and especially the international banks, had not adopted all the infrastructure and the technology needed for it to be accomplished. But since we have moved more to a digital world with our whole banking and finance system, it's quite easy. I mean, it's basically a push of a button now.
So that would imply that it's being done, but
well, no, ma'am, it's not being done, but it should be done.
Okay.
And it could be done quite easily. And it doesn't cost taxpayers any money whatsoever, which is the wonderful part of it all.
Yes, even better. I'm all for that as a taxpayer. So now, to have that kind of insight, is your background in finance? Is it in technology, military? I mean, help me understand how you got so hooked into this.
Okay, well, I've been working in finance and banking since 1996. My bachelor's degrees are in management and marketing from Stephen F. Austin. My MBAs are in financial services and economics from the University of Dallas. My securities license are 7, 63, 65. I got numerous insurance licenses, and I guess the most important license is I'm a certified financial planner, or CFP. So I have worked from just being a teller at a credit union to being the managing director at Ameriprise Financial. So
awesome.
I understand how the whole banking system works from start to finish.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And being that hooked into everything, so you really do have that bird's eye viewpoint. But this is a fictional book that you have put together. It sounds like it comes from a lot of authority that you have based on your background. So
yes, ma'am. The premise of the book is based on the midterm elections coming up.
Okay.
So November 6, 2018, and the book is based on a first-year congressperson and a political reporter who get together, and they come up with this idea. And It's just how they sell it to all the different caucuses and all the different committees within the House of Representatives and the Senate in order to get the bill passed. But it's funny because you say it's fiction, and right now it's fiction, but one of my kids told me, hey, this is a realistic fiction because it is doable. It can happen. We just got to get people behind this effort to crush the drug cartels and to just end that once and for all.
And I'm all for that. I'm right there with you, and I think fiction that is based on reality and a certain amount of fact is the best kind of fiction because people can get a good bird's eye view of what's happening without you getting in trouble by naming names. So do you think those people that are making the money off of these payoffs, because there's payoffs going up to the head of the cartels and all the way back down, do you think they're going to block any of this from happening if it actually gets adopted?
Well, in the United States, we don't have the same corruption that they have, say, in Colombia or Bolivia or especially Mexico. Mm-hmm. There was one individual in Mexico that was arrested, 3 years ago, and he was their czar drug cartel, or he was in charge of combating the drug business in Mexico, and he got busted for receiving $450,000 a month in U.S. dollars in bribes.
Sweet. Talk about a golden parachute. I mean, that money does have a way of corrupting almost everything. And U.S., like you say, is a little bit better. What about Europe and the international banking adopting this?
Well, Europe is in its own turmoil on that type of stuff. As you know, with Brexit and Britain's leaving the whole European Economic Community. Now, they never adopted the euro itself, but then you also have the issues with the pigs, Portugal, Italy, Greece. So they're kind of in a turmoil on that stuff. But if you look, Europe has adopted new legislation that's really cramping down on cryptocurrency like Bitcoins because of the fact that it's being used to circumvent their laws and their taxes. And the U.S. has too. And Bitcoin got just a little over $20,000 a share for a while there about a year ago, and they've been cut in half, and the other cryptocurrencies as well. But they're being shut down right now. The simple fact of the matter is the rate of currency conversions and what the drug cartels are doing in order to finance their operations, because if you look at all the estimates, and I named a number of websites and studies in my book, they're basically exporting $30 billion of U.S. cash a year, and that's the average. Some websites have it as high as $60 billion a year. So I took 30 different studies, just averaged them out, came around $32 billion a year, which, if you look at a company like Walmart, their after-tax income is less than that. These drug cartels are making more than Walmart just off U.S. drug use.
Well,
and we're never going to shut down the supply line. We got to shut down the demand line.
Yes, and shutting down both obviously would be the most ideal. Now, you've got 22 some odd years in the financial industry, if I did my math close to being correct. This book that you did, How the U.S. Won the War on Drugs, you released it at the beginning of August of this year. How long was it in the planning stage?
Well, like I said, I first came up with the basis idea of it back in 2006, but the infrastructure in our banking and finance system was just not in place. And so once it became into place, I actually kind of got motivated to start writing at the beginning of this year. So it took me nearly 8 months or 7 months rather, to do all the research and try to put it into a story that people would want to read. Because, I mean, I'm an economics, finance guy. I got so many statistic classes and calculus classes that I've taken in college and grad school. And I didn't want to write it so confusing that people wouldn't be able to understand anything that I was saying. So I was trying to break it down into, a story, a novel that people would enjoy reading, and kind of get educated on what we can do. Because we can win this war. We can do it quite easily and without spending any money.
Which is desperately exciting from my personal perspective. I've known people who have fallen victim for drugs, and I'm sure most of the listeners on here do as well. And I think that you won't find anyone jumping up and down saying, "Oh yeah, let's not fight this war." So you spent this year writing it. Did you get some help and guidance from family, from friends, to help wordsmith it in a way that it would be more digestible?
Well, not in the wordsmithing way, but I did have a couple friends. I got a friend of mine that was an IRS auditor for over 30 years, and he's a CPA and MBA, and he audited small companies, and so he helped me a lot with some of the more technical stuff and how the IRS works, which because of him, I learned about what's called the tax gap. And according to the IRS, the tax gap every year is over $400 billion just because of what the drug cartels are siphoning out. And that's an extra $400 billion a year in revenue. And the IRS website is not a friendly website. It is hard to find research, but I tell you what, he dug it up, and I pasted it onto the book with the exact link so everyone can go back and see this is what the IRS says. Because of drug cartels, we're losing $400 billion a year in taxable revenue.
Well, then it certainly behooves the U.S. government to get on the stick about this now that we have the capability to actually do this, as you pointed out. So that's really fascinating. So outside of this particular book that you're doing, are you planning to come up with a second book or a sequel to this?
Not a sequel.
Okay.
I'm not sure how I can sequelize this one. I'm just hoping this bill gets passed. So, that's kind of interesting. Now, I was writing a book that was based back in the 90s, but it's completely different from this whatsoever. Okay. It was just based on something that happened to me back in the early 90s. So kind of more like an adventure story.
Okay. Well, listen, we're going to take a short break and listen to our sponsors, Owen. So let's do that and come back, and we'll take this conversation down another path, okay?
All right. Thank you very much.
Headlines. Cryptocurrency vultures are circling around failing governments. Darknet predators are rushing to market with their newest digital product. They promise economic salvation, even as they coupon clips straight from your digital wallet. The newest techno-thriller installment from Brakefield and Berkey, The Enigma Source. Book 10 of the Enigma series continues the combat of cyber good guys versus cyber thugs set in today's digital landscape. A new online bookstore, IndieLecter.store, is unlike any other. IndieLecter.store offers great prices from top indie authors and supports authors at the same time by paying them more for their books. IndieLecter.store has a readers club that gives you free books and special deals. Watch the IndieLecter.store continue to grow before it opens in the fall of 2019 at IndieLecter.store.
Howdy, I'm John Cruder, the Midnight Marauder. I guess you might say that I'm a vigilante who rights the wrongs I see along my many travels to balance the scales of justice, especially those of the corrupt and murderous members of the Town Council of Bandera, Texas. You can follow my many adventures in a series of Midnight Marauder books written by Roy Clinton on Amazon.com and TopWesterns.com. Or, if you prefer, listen to my adventures in audiobook form by downloading them from Audible.com or iTunes. This is R. William James, the voice of the Midnight Marauder.
Do you love to read great new ebooks? Visit EBG247.com. Be the first to discover the next bestseller. At EBG247, we have the web's largest selection of great new book reads, from that amazing new fiction or nonfiction to horror, romance, and fantasy. We even have today's best children's books. That's EBG247.com. New books arrive daily, and all ebooks start at just 99 cents. If you love to read, then you'll love EBG247.com. Low prices, large selection, and an easy-to-use website. It's all only at EBG247.com.
Hello, Texas authors. My name is Randy James, coming to you from my Carrollton recording studio, where I spend time writing and producing commercials for my radio endorsement clients, as well as my private freelance clients. I'd like the opportunity to help you sell more books with a commercial like this and get listeners of Dear Texas Radio excited about your title, all at a special introductory price, available to members of the Texas Association of Authors. Call or text 214-762-1942. That's 214-762-1942. Love to read? Love to meet authors in person? Then check out bookfestival.network to find a book festival in your region of Texas. We are adding book festival events throughout the year, so sign up to get notices and even a coupon towards purchase of a Texas author's book. Sign up at bookfestival.network. Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Hi, this is rox-burkey, and I am back with h-owen-stevens talking about his fabulous newly released book, How the U.S. Won the War on Drugs. Our discussion has been pretty frank. It's a political fiction, and yet it's based on so much fact and reality that I want to come back, Owen, and talk a little bit about the bill that is up to be passed and kind of what you think the impact of your book on getting that bill passed might be.
Well, I'm hoping it's going to be huge on that issue. I've been sending out stuff to prospective candidates all across the country. I've gotten a few positive responses, not a lot. But the simple fact of the matter is it's going to be scary, and people are going to be apprehensive about doing this. But it's the only way to win.
So why the apprehension? Because someone's going to not get paid and they're going to fight back violently, or the fear of change, or all of that, okay?
Well, I mean, how much of a spoiler alert do you want me to give?
Oh, no, I don't want you to spoil the book, but I'm just saying in general,
Well, and that's the funny thing in the book. It's right up front. It's at the very beginning of chapter 2. I mean, it's not the idea that I try to keep secret through the book that people have to skip to the end to find out. It's how the idea gets passed. It's how it gets past everyone's apprehension about not wanting to do it. Because, it's going to be a little bit scary. And, for people that, are just marginally doing small things illegally, just pocketing a little bit of extra cash, not reporting on taxes, things like that, it's going to hurt some. But for the people that are really doing bad things, it's going to hurt a lot. And especially the drug cartels, especially in Mexico, Colombia, and Bolivia, and Venezuela. Those are the ones that's really going to hurt a lot.
So that said, and as as clear and defined as your book is, does that make you a little bit fearful?
Oh, no, ma'am.
Okay. Good.
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Well, good.
Just, you know, whatever happens, but you know, that's not the issue on any of this.
Mm-hmm.
The deal is we can really just crush the drug cartels, and I mean a quick crush. And it's not just them. You talk about all the street gangs that rule the lower income neighborhoods because they're dealing drugs, and they get paid in cash, and that's how they manage is because they got all this money and this cash. We take that all away from them. They lose all their power, all their control.
Well, and it's like any multi-level economic situation. You start eroding those levels. What is going to be the fallback for some of these hooligans, for lack of a nicer term?
Well, and that's going to be the big cost because it's, you know, I was always taught by my parents, say it's better rip off a Band-Aid really fast than just tear it off slowly. And, yeah, it's going to hurt. Point. And it's going to hurt some honest business people, too, in the short term. In the very short term, it will hurt honest people, too. But the deal is it's going to fix so much stuff so quickly. And it's just time to pull off that Band-Aid. And we're talking $30 billion a year of U.S. cash going overseas, going south, every single year when it should be used here in the United States. And we can stop all of that. And we can do it instantaneously.
Right. I noticed that one of your reviewers actually said that it provides some valuable lessons in history, civics, politics, and finance, and should be required reading for anyone who wants to hold a public office. I wonder, would that also apply to making it required reading in high schools? I mean, should our young people have better awareness of this from a perspective of, A, it's a bad thing to be, you know, into it, but also that it could stop and they can get on board or get out of the way?
I would love for it to be. I mean, I really tried to write a very clean book. You know, there's no cuss words or anything like that. I mean, this is easily a PG-13 book. I want it available for all readers, and I wanted parents to feel okay that their kids were reading it. I would love that. I'm just, again, because I had to implement, you know, economics and statistics inside the book, I'm just not sure how relatable it would be to high school students, but I'd love it if they read it. Don't get me wrong, I'm just not sure, you know, that they would enjoy it as much because, you know, sometimes statistics get kind of dry. I try to make them as fun as possible, but there's just only so much you can do with numbers.
No, I totally understand that, and sometimes learning is just a very, very tough thing. And it means you have to stretch. Maybe it's better at a college level, but it could be one of those.
Yeah, college level, definitely. And I would hope for the high school level. I'm just not sure how engaging. I try to make it as engaging as possible for as for as many people as possible, but it might not be that engaging for high school kids. But boy, I would love it if they read it.
Well, there you go. It's a new avenue for you to promote. Start talking to the libraries and Department of Education. You know, get it on board. So I want to take it a little different twist now. So I know that your book is available as a paperback and as a Kindle. So it's available on where? Where can people buy your book?
Well, you can go to Amazon and basically got to go to Amazon. You got to hit books, and then you got to type in the title, "How the U.S. Won the War on Drugs," and the search thing, because it's buried pretty deep in Amazon. But it is there.
Okay. And you also have it available, I know, on Texas Authors now. So that's pretty
yes,
cool.
Yes, ma'am.
So
I think they got that posted too today.
It is.
Mark was very, very nice and very helpful with that. I mean, he's
right.
He's been a very nice guy and helping me out with everything, so I do appreciate him and all the people at TexasAuthors.com.
Yeah, he's the author, and he's awesome, and it really can be found at books.txauthors.com, and you can search on h-owen-stevens, or you can search on the book to find it. So that's another avenue for people to be able to reach out and get a hold of this book, because I'm with you. I think it's a necessary read. I think that it will help people understand the possibilities that are quite real. Now, you also have a website?
Yes, ma'am. h-owen-stevens.com. We just kind of constructed it. I'm not really the IT guy. I'm, in my 50s, so I was born before all this. But yeah, it's up there. h-owen-stevens.com is the website. My Twitter handle is h_owen-stevens. And then also apparently I have a Facebook page too.
Well, I mean, that's good. People need to start reaching out to you. Are you going to be appearing anywhere with your book in a bookstore or anything where people could actually come and talk with you? Go into a little bit more depth?
I don't have anything scheduled, but as soon as I do, I will put it on the Twitter, Facebook, and website. So, I mean, I'd be very much interested in that, but to be quite honest, I don't know how to make that happen. Like I said, it's my very first novel. I've worked in the financial world all this time, so this is a new area of endeavor for me. It's very fun. It's very exciting. I had a great time writing it, and so far I've had only positive reviews. Not many, but they've all been positive.
Well, I think that Texas Authors is going to be able to help give you some additional insight on places that you can go and people that you can see. Some of the book festivals that are coming up even this year, I think would be perfect for this. So, unfortunately,
they've been very wonderful. They've been so helpful. And, I didn't even know they existed. I just kind of stumbled on the site, and, once I got on the site, I gave them a phone call, and it was just amazing how helpful they were to me. So it's just, they've been a blessing.
Okay. Well, listen, you have a great evening, and we'll come back again and talk with you. Have a nice evening.
All right. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it, and you have a wonderful day.
Texas Authors is proud to be a supporter of IndieBeacon.com, a website that supports indie authors from around the world. If you are looking for help with marketing or getting published, IndieBeacon.com can assist you. Years of experience by the founder is available to any indie author looking for help. IndieBeacon.com, a place for creative souls to find help in marketing their creations. Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website at IndieBeacon.com.